Everybody want to close more deals. I mean, it's just simple. And many of us who are utilizing the phone, of course, we want to do a better job at closing deals over the phone. So when I talked to my friend Martin, who runs a company called Sierra, he was like, Donald, I got just the great content that your community need. I was like, okay, Martin, let's do it. Let's talk about this on the show. And here's that episode. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And as I mentioned in a teaser, we're going to talk about how you can close more deals over the phone. My friend Martin, he's a co-founder of a company called Sierra. We're going to have a link back to them. If you're watching this here on YouTube, just simply go down to the show, to the notes below. You'll see a link. I want you to go ahead and connect with Sierra. You know, also connect with Martin. He's a cool dude. You can find him on LinkedIn, and he's all the way overseas in Germany. They're doing some amazing things, and I'm going to talk to him a little bit more about Sierra, but more importantly, we're going to learn what are some things that you can do right now to make sure you close more deals using a phone. Let's go ahead and dive into the episode. Welcome to the show, Martin.
Hey, Donald, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, man. We're excited to have you, and we brag about you guys over at Sierra with your tool and how powerful it is and exciting. So we'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about Sierra towards the end of our call,
Sure.
but you guys are doing some magical things. And I wanted to get from you, I bragged about you a little bit there in the teaser when we opened up the episode, but tell us a little bit more about you, man, and what you're doing, Martin.
The co-founder of Sierra, and I have a career in software sales. And that's actually how I came up with the idea to develop Sierra as what we call a conversation assistant, which is a software tool, obviously. Myself being a business guy by education, loving sales, loving to work with my customers. And I think that's what brought us together.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. And it's definitely like you said, there are, when you're a sales rep, when you're in the field, you tend to come across challenges or difficulties regularly. And I mean, I think for every sales rep listening to this, like a few of you are probably thinking, man, I have a software idea in my mind, because you've seen so many gaps in the system or in your outreach process, but you actually acted on it. So, and this is why I like having you on this episode, because not only can you speak from the sales rep standpoint, you can speak from the leadership standpoint and give some ideas. And right now we're in this weird new normal that we're all coexisting in with the global pandemic still raging on. And we are trying to figure out how we can connect more and win more calls, win more appointments, become more successful over the phone in this new normal. So I want to pick your brains on that a little bit. And is that fair enough?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now, especially for your team, what is it like when folks they're doing outreach, they're making phone calls? What is it like? Some of the challenges you're seeing that sales reps are facing?
Yeah. So I think you really have to go back to the absolute start of every sales relationship and think about what is the actual need of my customer now, because it may have changed a little bit. So what is true for us and what is true for our customers as well. They really need to revisit kind of their pitch, need to revisit their USP a little bit, and also how they approach customers, right? Everyone is in a somewhat new situation. For some, it's the first time they not only sell, but also being sold over the phone. So my first observation really is that it is new for everyone involved. The situation is new, the needs are new. So really don't assume anything. All the stuff that worked for the last couple of years, it may just be slightly different. So I would really start with discovering customer needs and make sure that your pitch and your customers' needs are still in line, or get them back in line, which obviously is a big opportunity for everyone who gets it right first, right? So that's my first thought.
How did you guys change from, because alluded to the audience. So you and I, we first connected. I can't remember now. It's what, beginning of the year when we first connected, or was it last year? I
Yeah.
think it was last year.
Yeah, maybe could be about a year back, 9 months,
So,
a year back. When that was a world where we would go to our customers and say, listen, there is a trend. There's some development going on here. There are inside sales being created. There is more stuff you used to be doing in the field that you can now do on the phone or through an online meeting. Have you ever thought about this? And obviously, many of them had thought about it, and others had never thought about it. If this was our pitch today, people would just, they would probably assume I live on a different planet, right? So, for us, which is great for us because, as someone providing a conversation assistant, helping people navigate sales phone calls, that's wonderful because everyone is in that situation per se, because everyone's working remote and there's no business travel, and so that's part of our new reality, and that's how we have changed.
So you evolved. What are you saying now? What's your team saying now? Is they transformed their messaging?
Yeah. So our messaging now is detecting the need of our customer, or the pain point of our customer is not about how can you bring down cost by taking people from the field into an inside sales team because they just cost half the money, which would have been kind of our pitch before. Now it is everyone's at home. No one really knows what to do. Your sales trainers, they sit in the office and they try to get the message across, but then you really don't know what's going on in everybody's living room. So Sierra can actually help you get everyone on the same jet stream and get everything properly documented. So the assistant is here to help everyone at home, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the same solution, but a completely different need on the customer's end and proposition from our end.
And I love that, by the way, because having been someone that used your tool and taken advantage of it, and someone that is also continue to develop my own team internally. I mean, for the longest time, many of our listeners know that it was Donald who was doing a lot of the sales and the training. We have a new trainer that's on board with us as well. So now I'm doubling myself. And then we also have a sales team of about 4 or 5 individuals now, counting everybody, trying to make sure everybody's accounted for. So, we are developing, we're growing. So I'm seeing that, and it's the same idea you're saying too. I'm in South Florida, and we're still going through that. We're just entering stage 2, right, where we still have social distancing, considering a smaller team with our office. But sometimes people do work from home to obviously want to make sure it's effective for individuals. But having what you're sharing, that value proposition, getting everybody on the same page, while they're sitting there teaching kids, teaching their kid and having cereal, they can still be able to follow the same protocol, the same playbook, so to speak. And I love that proposition. Right. That just shows how nimble you guys have been able to be in. It's smart. So take note, listener.
Yeah, it's probably true for almost anyone, or for many, just because if your customer's reality changes so drastically, it's very likely that their priorities and needs change alongside. Right?
Besides changing the way we message and I guess create value in the eye of the buyer, what else are some of the things we can do to win more on the phone these days in this new normal?
Yeah. So I think number 2 is, let me say, it's the processes, right? So what I've seen with many customers before is that they would be doing outbound cold calling, maybe initial qualification on the phone, but then hand it over to like the real salespeople, right? Like the account executives and those guys that actually earn the money and close the deal. If you look at the sales process today, there is good reason, and actually there would have been good reason before, but there is even more good reason now to think, to rethink your process entirely, from first call, first contact, from a marketing qualified lead to actual closing the deal. And that goes along with not only thinking about what is that in-person meeting like today, but also what are the tools you're using. And I'm not necessarily talking Sierra only. Obviously, we can add to that very much. But
Sure.
do you have an online meeting tool in place that everyone is trained on and that works for everyone, and where people feel comfortable? Remember the early weeks of the lockdown, where all these funny videos went online with people trying to handle the Zoom camera and things like that. So get the process and the tools in place, and then also if you can't sign a contract sitting with people on a table, how do you sign contracts today? So what does that mean for your digital process in terms of sending out a proposal, getting a signed contract back? What about your kickoff workshop that maybe used to be in person typically and now all has to be online? So it's the entire sales process alongside with tools. That's number two. That's a big one. Where most organizations, I would say, are now working on.
So let's say that you're talking, there's a sales manager and she's listening to this and she's like, holy crap, this makes total sense. We have to reimagine our tools, and we're still in that process. Is there a certain part of that process they should look at first of reevaluating when it comes towards their tools?
Yes. Well, I tend to say let's start at the beginning. So that means initial calls, initial qualification, building rapport, building initial relationships, meeting your customer online, camera on, having a little chat. All these things that need to replace the personal relationship, and then still make sure that there's a very professional process where you really understand why is this customer coming to you, where you properly qualify the lead, and then you can probably still live with sending out a contract and then get it back by mail, but you can't live with a dying pipeline or no new leads because you can't qualify prospects anymore.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of opportunities. I think there's some benefit in the silver lining when it's all said and done that happened with COVID, because many companies will start realizing how inefficient they probably were performing prior because they didn't incorporate certain softwares that could help them to make things a lot easier. But now they have to. Like you're saying, people are not all together. What can we do to make this work smoother and faster? Talk about building rapport. What are some ways that we can? I know we hear this one a lot. People talk about you build rapport this way, but blah blah blah, ask about the weather, all those things. But we're so much more now that having more conversation over video rather than in person, right? But how can we make sure we're sincerely building rapport with prospects rather than just superficial, silly questions, hoping your family are well kind of stuff? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. So I think there's two sides of the answer to that question. One is again, how do you it's a bit like what used to be the suit and tie, which is now how is your online meeting set up? How much do you care about a good meeting environment? So can people actually see you? Are you somewhere in your kitchen, no light on? It just makes a difference. I love your studio so much, Donald. So this is really this is a number one example how you should do it. I think it's just a professional setup of being introduced and building that initial relationship. So if people can't meet you, they have to get the best proxy of you. So just make sure you use technology properly. That's an easy one, seemingly an easy one, but maybe not. And then number two, it's I would go back to this qualification thing, which on the one side you have qualification frameworks, and you want to discover certain information, but it's also about discussing these things that I just said. How do you find out, and how do you really care what the new needs are of this company? How is the company really doing? How's this person doing? What is the what's the challenge of that person? How can you potentially serve that customer better than others? Because here's the big opportunity. When everything starts shaking and moving, if you're the one who puts the pieces together the first and makes sense for people just convincingly, that is your big opportunity, which is a core capability of a salesperson, I think. So this is the second part of building rapport. Is not about how are you and what's the weather like, but really what is how has this situation changed your career, your outlook, what's the real problem, and then be able to provide something meaningfully different than the stuff that everyone maybe would have expected.
Yeah, and I also I think when you do it with that approach, it becomes, people are able to let their guard down. I'll give you an example. I spoke to this guy on LinkedIn the other day and asked him, it's a friend of mine, and we started we haven't spoken in probably before the pandemic since like last September or whatnot, but we were talking, and I did ask the question, how's the family doing? And he's like, to be honest, and then he went into like this long explanation of what's going on. Because even though we all have challenges, sometimes we lie, and especially if somebody we don't know, we just say, yeah, things are going okay, right. We're going by. But I feel that when we are vulnerable first, then the prospect can allow them to say, okay, well, this is where the conversation goes. I can be vulnerable too, or it allows them to take their guard down a little bit more. So like, say, this is something that just popped in my mind from you just talking about this. If I'm a business development rep and I ask the client, how are things going in your neck of the woods or whatever, some kind of question that is sincere, how does it affect your business? Say, yeah, for us, it's been weird, to be honest. Like, I'm not going to lie. Being at home, I hang out with my dog a lot as opposed to in the office with my friends. And that's kind of weird. I don't go to lunch with people. So it's eating a lot of DoorDash. So, but, we're still, luckily we still have an organization, the company's still thriving, we're still doing well. And I'm grateful to be able to talk to customers like you. That I think would make a much better approach than, yeah, we're doing okay. It's crazy here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Along these lines, it's also how you make them feel, and how you can convince them you're there for them still, yeah. Right? With maybe from your kitchen table, so or but you're that you really care. You don't come in a situation that everyone has had 100,000 times in their lives and say the stuff that everyone has said, but it's an opportunity, I agree, to be to work around your personality a lot more maybe than you were ever able to. So yeah. That's an interesting thought. I would agree. Yeah.
Man, there's so much. We probably could go on for like another day talking about all this stuff. But I we definitely hit a lot here. One, people need to evaluate what they're saying, make sure they understand the true problem that clients have these days, and adjust their messaging towards that. Two, we talked a lot about the processes and about the tools, and everyone should probably start looking at the way they're going to market right now, how they're reaching out to folks, and evaluating what tools their team's using, and if those make sense. Number three, rapport building, connecting with people, making sure that we come from a place of trying to build and to not just do superficial answers, but also to be vulnerable, and that helps us. I mean, some of these things, a lot of these things here, and I'm sure there's tons of more things we can apply that's going to help us win more as we're on the phone in the new normal. But one of the things that I do feel is helping people, and you mentioned at the top of the episode when you're talking about your software, if you indulge me for a second, would you be willing to talk about how Sierra is working and what Sierra is exactly? Because some people probably are like, well, Don, was just talking about the Sierra Desert, Sierra Nevada. Like, no, it's a
Yeah.
software. But would you be willing to talk for a minute about that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So what we do at Sierra is we provide what we call a conversation assistant, and that is a software that is in front of your eyes while you talk on the phone or in an online meeting, and it helps you maneuver your call in terms of displaying you the goals that you're after. So you want to discover, what the pain is. You want to discover who the decision makers are. You want to make sure you have proper next steps in place. Those things we can grasp that from your notes, from your voice. So we can transcribe. We can listen in and transcribe your conversations, and we build summaries of your calls on top of that that you can then build on to develop the sales opportunity for your next call, right? So Sierra is this sales conversation assistant that is in all your calls and helps you get to the goals. It connects to CRMs. We talked about that earlier. So it auto records everything you do. There is no need to do any typing, any entries into any CRMs. Finally, and it comes with an audio recording, so you can listen into these calls, which gives you a lot of insights that you would otherwise typically lose. So that's what Sierra does, and we're much targeted, much focused on technology sales teams, on also B2C service sales. That's what we do. And if you want to check it out, just go to getsierra.com and take it from there. We're happy to show it to anyone.
Well, I'm a brag about it for a sec too, guys. I know this was, when sometimes you have a problem and you don't know the solution to it until it's like, somebody just does it, and it's kind of like, aha, that makes total sense. Why didn't they have this before? And that's kind of like how I thought about Sierra. I'm like, seriously, why didn't this happen before? Because all of us, we take notes, and this just makes it so much better. If you want to find out more about it, we'll have a link down below if you're watching this on TSE TV. If you're listening to the podcast, go to our website or just go down into the show notes, and we'll have a link going back to Sierra so you can get Sierra yourself as well. But Martin, if there's one major takeaway you like folks listening to this episode to walk away with, what's that one major piece of advice?
I think there is a big opportunity now, more than ever, and more we would have thought a year back, to really build your organization and even your personal brand, your personal growth about, let me call that online sales, right? That's on the call, through the video camera, in a setting like this. It is a unique opportunity. It's just now, and for everyone out there who's in sales or just starting their career or kind of developing their career, I would strongly advise everyone to take that opportunity.
Man, absolutely love it. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today, and I amen what you're sharing there. We're going to go back and have folks connect with you via the Get Sierra, but is there anywhere else you'd like folks to connect with you? Anywhere you want to send them?
Just come through our website, come through my LinkedIn profile, just ping me there, and I'll certainly come back to you.
Martin, thank you for taking the time to come on the show and sacrificing a few minutes here. Appreciate your insights.
Thanks, Donald. Take care. I hope we talk again soon.
That was my good friend Martin, and if you'd like to connect with Martin and learn more about his awesome software, I highly recommend you go down into the show notes. If you're watching this here on YouTube and you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that red button. I would love for you to subscribe. You can get content notification every time we produce a great episode. So find that link and also hit that little bell so we can give you the chime and let you know whenever we have that new content ready for you. If you haven't done so already, I want you guys to check out our friends Pipedrive. You'll see their name pop up right there at the bottom of the screen. But check out Pipedrive and some of the great things that they have to offer. They're giving you an amazing trial, not 14 days, but 30-day trial. And then these folks are going to give you 25% off the first 3 months. You can't beat that. Go ahead and check it out. Also, check out my friends over at Wingman. Now, Wingman is a pretty cool software as well, and we use that internally. It's able to give my sales reps an opportunity to be able to be ahead. They can think and not have to worry because I'm giving them the great information, the things that work. They can have those notifications. I mean, all kinds of cool stuff. So check them out as well. You can find the information at trywingman.com. As always, I share stuff like this because I want to help you. I want you all to succeed. I want you to thrive. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to be able to close more deals. But most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up at the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.